watching the Trinity channel. I'm your host, Noreen Anwea. Today we have an incredible show. A show to illustrate exactly what is happening in the Christian homelands in Iraq. We have a guest joining us today on Skype to help you understand the most current updates on the crisis against the Christians, to help you understand by painting a picture in the most realistic form. Our guest is Maryam Shamalta. As you know, in 2014, ISIS had invaded into the Christian homelands of Nineveh and Mosul, rampaging through town after town, city after city, destroying where Christianity emerged, and not just Christianity, but the cradle of civilization, the homelands of ancient Assyria and Babylon, being destructed by radical Islam inch after inch, destroying over 120 churches. Maryam had traveled overseas just recently and actually risked her life in not only a war-stricken country, but a country that has been suffering genocides for centuries. To give you a little background on Maryam Shamalta, just so you understand her passion and her story of why she is here today to tell us the latest updates. Maryam Shamalta was born in Urmi, Iran. She grew up in a loving and caring Assyrian Christian family with two older brothers. Maryam and her family moved to the Netherlands while she was a teenager, and she lived there from 1996 until 2007. That is when she decided to move to California to find her new safe haven. Maryam obtained her bachelor's degree in economics from a university in the Netherlands and worked as a financial professional for a large Dutch bank prior to her move to California. While working for JP Chase, Maryam graduated with her MBA. In mid-2015, she decided to make a challenging and courageous move, which she believed would contribute to her nation's future and very survival. She immediately quit her high-paying corporate job at JP Chase and accepted a management position at her community's channel in California, known as ANB for Assyrian National Broadcasting, to simply help the best she can and spread awareness. Maryam started her community work as a teenager. Her love for her nation, language, religion, and heritage was embedded in her heart and soul by her devoted Christian parents while she was growing up. When she was only 12 years old, she started working at her community's association and wrote her first article as a young Christian girl in Iran when she was only 14 years old. She was also named by a large organization in Holland as the Woman of the Year in 2004 for her dedication and contributions for the well-being of her people, and that's why they believe she deserved that award. In 2013, Maryam became a host and also started her own international talk show dedicated to not only the empowerment of her native people, but also the empowerment of women in her community. Thank you so much, Maryam, for joining the Trinity channel, and it is an honor to have you here.
Thank you, Nahran. I would like to say hello to you and everybody who is watching, and thank you and ABN and Trinity channel for the opportunity to share my story and my first-hand experience visiting my ancestral homeland. Thank you.
Thank you, Maryam. We're all happy to have you here and very, very happy that you have made it safely back to the United States, especially going to such a dangerous area that many people are watching and wondering how horrible it has been since 2014 and actually even prior to that. Maryam, what motivated you to go to Iraq as an Assyrian Christian American in your recent trip during April? What was your personal mission?
You know, my visit to my ancestral homeland was actually because of my love for my Assyrian nation and my people. So when I got the opportunity to travel with my TV crew to my ancestral homeland, Iraq, in April to visit my Assyrian brothers and sisters there and also celebrate the Assyrian New Year, also known as Akitu there, I took this opportunity and went and visited. I always wanted to go visit my ancestral homeland, although I am born in Iran and I had never been in Iraq, but I always felt that Iraq was my home. That's where My ancestors had a kingdom where civilization was started thousands and years ago.
Wonderful. Maryam, I mean, watching these pictures, they make me personally so emotional, you know, just touching the children that have been affected by these genocides. And many people in the diaspora truly don't understand the urgency of what this crisis has done to the people. What was your reaction when you first landed there? Because despite that you were born in Iran, you know, being an Assyrian Christian, descending originally from those areas originally belonging to the native people of those lands, what was your reaction?
You know, it was actually a dream come true. When I landed there, I was extremely happy to be landing in Assyria, actually. I didn't realize how emotional I was until I sat in the car. We were on our way to the hotel. I started crying, and I could not stop crying for perhaps half an hour. I was so excited to be there. But I was looking out of the window as we were driving to our hotel, and I realized that we have left our land. We have lost our land. And it was making me really, really sad. On the other hand, I was very happy to be there, to be able to visit my Assyrian brothers and sisters and to see how they live, to hear their stories. So it was a mixed feeling of happiness and sadness, Naren.
That's wonderful. And when Maryam says Assyrian, you know, that is our national and ethnic identity, but they're also religiously known as Chaldeans and Syriacs, the original people of those homelands. And Maryam, what were some of the questions and demands of the native people and other minorities the moment that you went there and you encountered them? I'm sure that, you know, as soon as you land there, people look at you as their savior. What are you going to do for us? What were they demanding? What were their questions that they wanted you to report on?
Mm-hmm. You know, it's very interesting to see how hopeful these people are. They didn't have a lot of demands. One thing that I noticed that all these people had in common was that they wanted our people, our Assyrian Christian community in diaspora, and also the international community to do more for them. I think we haven't been doing enough, and I think that was their demand because, as you know, 75% of our population, of Assyrian population, is in diaspora. So we are more powerful in the Western countries. We have more freedom. We have more safety to do something for our people there. So they were actually asking us to do more. And it was really interesting for me to see. I was thinking that everybody who I would see there wants to leave and come to the Western countries. But a lot of them do not want to leave. If they're offered a safe place to live, they do not want to leave. And whenever they see a neighbor or a relative is leaving, they get really, really sad. So I think one main message I heard and I realized that they had was that we need to do more in the Western countries, in diaspora, as a Syrian Christian community and as an international community, Nahran.
That is right, Maryam. And, you know, a lot of times we hear from the internally displaced people who have been thrown in the slums of not only Iraq and Syria, but also the surrounding Middle Eastern countries, and many of them have traveled as refugees to European countries. Many of them, even in the diaspora now, are losing hope. They are heart-wrenched to return back to their homelands. Is it true that some of them are losing hope? And how may that affect our people in general?
You know, it is actually very normal that some people are losing hope. You know, one thing, Nahran, I think some people do not realize what has been done to these people. I mean, one thing that I want the viewers, whoever is watching today, to realize, put yourself in these people's shoes. You have been working on your business for 30, 40, 50 years. You have paid off your home. You are safe. Your children are graduated or just going to school. Your entire family is living together. And somebody comes to you and gives you 24 hours to leave everything that you have behind and just go. How would we feel? I want people to realize that if we are put in this situation in the Western countries, that we have to just pack whatever we can, take our family and leave. Of course we will lose hope. And some of these people, as you can see in these pictures, they go back to their homes 2 years later and their homes are empty. They're burned. These homes they have worked so hard for. And some of these children that you see in these pictures are born in IDP camps. They don't even know where home is. And people who have fled the country after the ISIS atrocities in 2014. They're living in a surrounding country, as you mentioned, in Jordan and Turkey and other countries, waiting and hoping to come to the Western countries. And it's very normal that these people are losing hope. I mean, just imagine something like this happening to us. And I think that is very, very, very important. And sometimes we forget to do that, that we have to realize what these people have been through. And if they lose hope, they have every right to.
That is exactly right, Maryam. And, you know, many times when we're placed in that position, you know, who knows, we may have lost hope and at least confidence in these governments and the international communities to actually react in a timely manner to avoid further decrease in the population of these people. And Maryam, how would you paint a picture for the viewers to understand the urgency of the decrease in population, and how does that make you feel to understand that truly the cradlers of civilization, the people who first adapted to Christianity in this region, are literally almost extinct? How does that make you feel?
You know, it breaks my heart, Maryam. That is one thing that I perhaps wake up every single morning thinking about it. How come we have been decreasing? We are talking about the ISIS atrocity or ISIS genocide in 2014, but we are going back to 1800s, perhaps even before that. Genocide that have driven us not only out of Iraq, but also out of other countries in the Middle East. We haven't been safe for so many years, for centuries perhaps. And it's very, very sad that I see our population decreasing by the day. They're leaving our ancestral homeland. The Christians of the Middle East, Assyrian Christians of the Middle East, they were the first nation who adapted Christianity in the first century. And these people are not being protected. These people are leaving the Middle East. They're basically, I always say, they're the taste of the Middle East. So they belong there. We should all be able, regardless of our religious preference, to be able to live safely amongst each other in the Middle East. And it breaks my heart to see that happening. And this is why I work for my nation, because I want my people to be safe. I don't want the Christians to have to be killed, raped, kidnapped all the time. Genocides are enough against our people. This needs to stop immediately. Otherwise, we wouldn't have any Christians living in the Middle East, period.
That's right, Maryam. And I believe what a lot of people don't understand is that these are the people who speak, not spoke, but speak the language of Jesus Christ. The Assyrian Aramaic language is the original language of all people. Hebrew, Arabic, and many languages today originate from our language. So it is so important, besides the historical and religious aspect of it, but linguistic aspect of it. I mean, this is the beginning of all civilizations, truly the roots of many people. Many people who are doing DNA tests today are finding the very DNA that originates from there in their ancestry. Also, Maryam, who do you blame for the ISIS invasion into Mosul and Nineveh, which has caused this disaster against Christians? And now, as you can see, it is flourishing across the globe. There are attacks happening in Paris, London, even some in the United States, and many other parts in the world. Who do you blame for this?
You know, Nahran, I don't have enough evidence to blame anybody for ISIS invasion and ISIS atrocities. I do believe that I refuse to call this only a Christian genocide. It was a Christian and ethnic genocide against our people and other minorities. But I can say one thing about what happened in 2014, that the international community and our neighbors failed in preventing and protecting our people while this genocide was happening. The international community could have reacted much faster, not waited 2 years before they started doing something about it. So I cannot blame anybody. I don't have the right to blame anybody. I am not a political analyst nor a politician to say anything about that. But I think the international community failed in protecting our people and other minorities there, Nahran.
That's right. And that's why since 2014, our American government was calling the ISIS terrorist Islamic extremists a junior varsity team. And that's why today, I don't believe anybody would agree with that point. Maryam, when you first went to Iraq, I am sure your family was petrified to have you there, knowing that the dangers lurked in every corner that you turned, especially with the enemies of our people, as well as the radical Islamists that were lurking around you. How did your family feel when you were firsthand experiencing, the different situations that were happening there, visiting all the different churches and the camps? And how did your family feel about having you there?
Nahran, my family did not want me to travel to Iraq. They were not happy about the decision that I made to travel to my ancestral homeland, regardless of all the unsafe news and everything that we have heard. But they were very supportive. They trust me. They know that I have a calling. They know that I have a mission. And I told them, I am going. My life is not more important than my Assyrian brothers and sisters in the homeland. If something happens to them, well, might as well something happen to me. It is fine. They are a living human being as much as I am. I'm not more than them. I'm not worth more than them. So I will go. And Nahran, it is very interesting. Although my family was not happy with me traveling there, and until last week they were like, when are you going to change your mind? Are you going to change your mind? And I said, no, I'm not going to change my mind. However, I felt very safe when I was there. First, because I was with my TV station crew. Second, because even when I was traveling to the previously invaded, now liberated villages of the Nineveh Plains, I was feeling very protected because my brothers from the NPU, Nineveh Plains Protection Unit, were with us at all times. And delegations from other organizations, also my TV crew, we were all together. There was not a single moment that I felt unsafe. And I came back, I shared my story with my family, I shared my story with a lot of other people, and I think it was very nice and very encouraging for a lot of people to see, okay, if they did it, we can do it too. If they went there, despite the fact that we know that might be unsafe, we can do it too. So a lot of people told me that they're going to be going next year. Even my mother said, next year maybe I'll come with you. So she changed her mind, and I'm very, very happy that I took the risk and went there, visited the Assyrian Christian brothers and sisters, and visited the liberated villages and saw everything from nearby. And now next year I'm hoping to take a lot of people with me because I will celebrate Assyrian New Year there again.
That's wonderful. Great to hear, Maryam.
Thank
Maryam,
you.
What do you personally believe is the best solution to stop these consistent rates of genocide? As you said earlier, the people there have been suffering centuries upon centuries of genocide, and actually even since the fall of the Assyrian and Babylonian empires, it has been a domino effect ever since that has been reflected against the whole world. Extremism has never been so dangerous like it is today, and that was a domino effect that many people don't understand. So in order to fix the bigger problem, we must start where the root is. Where did this extremism flourish? We must give the people who cannot be infiltrated the power again. And I truly believe that is the people living in our ancestral homelands in Iraq and even parts of Syria. And also, what do you personally believe? I want to hear it from you because we hear so many different strategies and so many different organizations and political groups and different countries have strategies. But being someone who's so passionate and so directly linked to this crisis, what do you believe is the solution?
In my opinion, this is my personal opinion, I think the solution to these genocides, for them not to happen again, indigenous Assyrian Christians to be able to live safely in the Middle East with their neighbors. First of all, I think we deserve, not need, we deserve, as the indigenous people of the Middle East, as the first Christians of the Middle East, as people who gifted the civilization, leadership, inventions to the world, we deserve international protection and support. That is one thing that I think is very, very important. Second, I think we deserve a semi-autonomous region like our neighbors in North Iraq with other minorities. The Nineveh Plains, I believe that the Nineveh Plains has to be given to indigenous people of the Middle East, of Iraq. Nineveh Plains were promised to us decades ago, and it wasn't given to us. Today, in this century, now we have to get the Nineveh Plains and those have to become ours. So we can have the international protection and support. We have the liberated Nineveh Plains. And also, I truly believe in our own army. And it makes me so happy to see that we finally have an independent army, Nineveh Plains Protection Unit, known as NPU. And I saw them protecting these liberated villages. I saw how much they're dedicated, they're risking their lives to protect our villages. And I believe in them. I think so international protection and support, Nineveh Plains have to be given to Assyrians and other minorities and our own army. I think I've always said NPU is the answer to never again. It is very important to realize that when we are talking about genocide, when we say never again, we have to look into a solution. How can we prevent these genocides in the future? And I think now we have those solutions. We just have to fight for them. We just have to make them happen. So centuries from today, or even decades from today, we do not have to go through these atrocities and genocide, because our population is so small. Assyrian population is so small. When we are attacked and affected by such an atrocity, it affects us enormously. Mm-hmm. We don't have a country. We don't have a region where we live in. We are spread out all over the world, so it affects us. We have to realize that we have to work together and prevent these atrocities.
Very well said, Maryam. And I completely agree with the original people. The original beginning of civilization, beginning of Christianity, and when people speak so highly of these people being the cradlers of civilization in historical textbooks, but where are they today when people like Maryam and others are voicing exactly what is needed in order to protect them? And that is a safe haven. That is, whether you want to call it a semi-autonomous region, an autonomous region, a state, but these people truly need their own territory. And as you can see, there's already established military consisting of the original people of that land and known as the Nineveh Plains Protection Units, or NPU. It is important that Nineveh also has its own governing power, their own governance, their own parliament. All of these steps, because as Maryam had mentioned earlier, in northern Iraq with the Kurds, and the Kurds aren't even the original people of Iraq, immediately the United States came to the rescue of these people when they were gassed by Saddam Hussein, and they were immediately given a safe haven. When Christianity is being completely demolished in Nineveh, where are they today? Why has it taken so many years to even discuss it, let alone implement a long-term solution?
Yeah, Maryam? And one thing I forgot to mention here, I'm sorry to cut you off, is that I believe in Assyrian global governance. Even if we get our own region, even if we have our own army, we have to have global governance. We cannot just only have a parliament or a governance in the Middle East. We need a global governance because we are spread out all around the world. And our power is in diaspora more than is in homeland. And when people are speaking about this, when they're speaking about because as you know, Assyrian National Broadcasting is a big supporter of Assyrian global governance, and it has to be established properly. It has to have a good foundation. We can't just go out there and say, oh, we are establishing a governance, we are establishing a parliament. We have to have a solid foundation for all these things that we are doing for our people. And that's also very, very important when we are going back to your previous question about what do you think can prevent these atrocities. So I would like to add this to it as well, Nahrin.
Very well said, Maryam. And it's very important that, especially looking at examples like Israel and Armenia, these countries were formed in the diaspora again. They were being empowered by the people, by their own people, and their friends and their allies who truly wanted to help a nation that was being completely annihilated by their own brothers and sisters who were spread out all over the world, like Maryam said. So it's very important that these people are given their safe haven, their own leadership, controlling that region, not being manipulated by any other foreign government looking for their own personal interests. That truly needs to stop to end these genocides against the original people of Iraq, and also eliminating Christianity. We have Christians all over the world, but where are you today? Today, where Christianity is being completely wiped out right in the roots, and you must collaborate together. You must remove all labels. We are brothers and sisters in Christ, and we must stand together to help our brothers and sisters, the persecuted church, to end these atrocities who are literally leaking into the entire world, causing attacks in London and Paris, and soon it'll be right here in your backyards where your children will be affected. Maryam, do you recommend for humanitarian workers to go there and assist? And if you know of any humanitarian organizations that are currently on the ground today, describe to them the differences in the red zones, green zones, really briefly. We have about 2 minutes left to the show, and just to encourage them that it's okay to go there and help these people.
You know, Naren, I cannot recommend anybody to go to an area that is known as unsafe. I definitely would like to encourage everybody, especially Assyrians, to go visit their ancestral homeland, because your view will change. Your life will change. And it is very, very important when you have a goal in your life, you have to go visit the area that you're working for so you can change your strategic plan according to the steps that you have to take to achieve that goal. So I definitely want to encourage Assyrians to go visit their ancestral homeland, especially the ones that are born in the Western countries. You need to go see where you come from. You need to go see that you are the children of a nation that is almost 7,000 years old. We are the daughters of a nation that wrote women's rights on tablets 4,000 years ago. The women's rights weren't written in the Western countries until late 1800s. So we are the children of this nation. We shouldn't forget about it. We should go visit, we should go see, and we should come back and do something about it. You know, Naren, not only humanitarian organizations, but also everybody else, I would encourage them to go visit, because it will change their way of thinking, and they will give back more. They will work more towards it. And perhaps some of us, when we visit our ancestral homeland, we will find our calling that we haven't found yet. Perhaps it's working towards something. So I would definitely encourage whoever, you know, I saw the work of Assyrian Aid Society and Assyrian Church of the East Relief Organization, known as Assyro, helping our IDPs, internally displaced people there. Also, after they leave, either to other Middle Eastern countries or to the Western countries. So I would definitely recommend every Assyrian, also non-Assyrian, Assyrians, Christians, everybody who wants to help humanity. We are speaking about humanity. We're not only speaking about Christianity. We're speaking about humanity. So Assyrian Aid Society is a great transparent Assyrian organization established in 1991, and also Assyrian Church of the East Relief Organization, as I mentioned, known as Assyro, are two humanitarian organizations that I was impressed by how much they have done for our people in Iraq and other countries. So I definitely would like to recommend people to visit their website, perhaps AssyrianAid.org and theassyro.org, and make your contributions. I think everybody can afford something to contribute to these organizations.
Thank you so much, Maryam. And also, please visit Maryam Shamalta. As you can see, her name is on the screen, on her Facebook, her Instagram, and sometimes tune in also to her Empowerment of Women show. And thank you so much for giving us a first-hand report on what is exactly happening, the latest updates on what is happening to the Christians in the homelands, and for encouraging people to go there, that it is not a complete bloodbath. There are green zones that you can actually contribute your humanitarian work. As you know, the two organizations that Maryam mentioned are actually literally working night and day, from establishing schools, teaching our Aramaic language, and also the churches trying to rebuild themselves. As you know, the majority of the churches have been completely burned down, destroyed, and were occupied by radical Muslims. But today, it is time to reconstruct these homelands. It is a time to bring civilization back to where it started. It is a time to revive Christianity where it began. It is time to bring Christ in the hearts of these people, and the only way that we can do this is to revive the people of those lands, the people who worked as an equilibrium in not only the Middle East, but truly an equilibrium in the world, a group of people who implemented civilization that has altered our very technology today. Thank you so much, Maryam, for your continuous work. Your work is never missed. I have been watching you very closely, and you are a true activist for not only Assyrians, but Christianity and humanity. And thank you so much for speaking out boldly to help these people. And thank you to the Trinity channel for broadcasting shows like these to show firsthand reports. Please visit us on www.trinitychannel.com to further inspect and analyze these crises to the most realistic details. And please, people, stop watching fake news and watch true channels that report the most realistic aspect of what is happening in the Middle East. Thank you so much. God bless you, and tune in again to the Trinity channel.